The great hall of the Galactic Council gleamed under the pale light of 1,000 stars. Towering spires of crystalline metal stretched skyward, encasing the chamber in a dome of shimmering reflections. Around the vast elliptical table sat representatives of dozens of advanced species, scaled, tentacled, and many shapes beyond human imagination. They whispered among themselves, eyes flickering with amusement as the final delegation entered. The humans. Elena Reyes stood tall despite the murmurs and hostile stares. Her human form was slender, far smaller than most in the chamber, and her simple uniform looked almost out of place among the elaborate armors and robes of the alien dignitaries. She felt their scorn like a physical weight, the way a predator watches prey. So tiny, hissed a writhing Moric official, whose serpentine head swayed with a venomous grin. Barely enough to fill a stadium on your planet, and yet you expect to claim a seat at the table? The Xervathi delegate, with 4 glowing eyes and claws tapping rhythmically on the crystal surface, chuckled. Humans? Fragile creatures. Your lifespan is a blink compared to ours. You could never hope to build a meaningful empire. Elena's gaze swept the hall, catching the faces of every delegate. Her voice was steady, but beneath it simmered years of defiance forged through survival. We do not deny our weaknesses, but we endure. We survive despite catastrophes, diseases, and wars that nearly destroyed us. She paused, letting the silence stretch. You measure us by your standards, population, size, lifespan, but these do not capture the true strength of a species. Laughter rippled through the chamber, but Elena did not flinch. You see numbers. We see potential. You see frailty. We see resilience. A low hum filled the room as the council's elder rose. His voice, deep and resonant, silenced the room instantly. Humanity has been assigned Class E status, observation only. You are not yet ready for meaningful interaction in galactic affairs. The pronouncement landed like a hammer blow. The alien delegates exchanged satisfied looks. The Moric hissed. The Xervathi sneered. But Elena's eyes burned with a fire that none of them understood. Yet, back on Earth, the news had already ignited a spark. Broadcasts showed the arrogant alien faces mocking humanity's place in the galaxy. Yet in hidden rooms, secret bunkers, and underground labs, human scientists and military strategists prepared for a different future. They understood something the Council did not. Numbers were just one factor. The real strength of humanity lay in something more elusive. Commander Reyes. A voice crackled over the comm link, breaking her concentration. Your first contact briefing is in 10 minutes. The Council is already underestimating us. Elena gave a brief nod. Then we'll give them a reason to rethink everything. That night, as the twin moons rose over Earth's horizon, Elena stood alone on the observation deck of the Council ship, orbiting the planet. Below, cities gleamed like clusters of fireflies in the dark. She clenched her fists, thinking of centuries of human history, the endless wars, the diseases, the near extinction of entire populations. They had been mocked before, ridiculed for weakness and small numbers. But the galaxy had never seen what humanity was truly capable of. As dawn cracked across Earth, Elena whispered to the stars, "They think they have won. They have no idea we're just beginning." The Galactic War Games were a spectacle unlike any other, a massive live simulation where the most powerful species in the galaxy tested their fleets, tactics, and technology. The arena was a sprawling nebula, bathed in swirling colors and filled with asteroids, gravitational anomalies, and space debris. It was the perfect stage for grand displays of firepower and strategy. When the humans' small fleet arrived, it was met with barely concealed amusement. Their ships were modest, far fewer in number and less imposing than the massive dreadnoughts of the Xervathi or the Moric's living bioships. The aliens whispered that Earth had sent their equivalent of fireflies to a hawk hunt. Commander, Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the USS Resolute, her face calm and unreadable. Around her, her crew prepared silently, their hands steady despite the sneers broadcast across the galaxy. They had been outnumbered before, outgunned too many times to count. This time, they would prove it didn't matter. The initial rounds were brutal. The humans took heavy losses, but their ships moved with surprising speed and coordination, weaving through asteroid belts, using every shadow and crack in the nebula to their advantage. Elena's voice came over comms, sharp and commanding. Divide and confuse, make them chase ghosts. The Xirvathi flagship, Valkorath, surged forward, confident, its massive plasma cannons locked on the Resolute. But Elena anticipated the move. With a flick of her hand, smaller frigates scattered, drawing the enemy fire while the Resolute slipped behind a moon-sized rock. Suddenly, the humans unleashed their secret weapon, swarms of micro-drones, each the size of a fist, released, in clouds that shimmered like living stars. The drones swarmed Valkorath's hull, drilling through armor and hacking systems faster than any alien could respond. The flagship's mighty weapons sputtered and died. A stunned silence rippled through the Council's viewing chambers. The humans had scored the first decisive victory, but the real shock came next. The Marek fleet attempted a brutal counterattack, pushing forward in overwhelming numbers. Elena ordered the Resolute to execute a maneuver no alien pilot had dared before. A full-speed plunge into the heart of the enemy fleet, using the ship's reinforced hull to ram through layers of fighters and cruisers. The explosion was colossal. Instead of retreating, human frigates surged forward through the breach, their pilots fighting with ferocity that shocked even the battle-hardened aliens. Humans fight like cornered beasts, muttered a Xirvathi officer, eyes wide. The Council chambers were awash in disbelief. The humans, dismissed as weak and outnumbered, were rewriting every rule. It wasn't technology alone. They fought with ruthless ingenuity, unpredictability, and a burning will to win. Back on Earth, Elena's command center exploded with activity. Data poured in from simulations, scouts, and spies embedded in alien fleets. Every tactic, every weakness was cataloged and exploited with surgical precision. We don't have numbers, Elena admitted to her senior officers in a rare moment of honesty. But we have something no one else has: creativity under pressure and the refusal to lose. The final round of the war games was broadcast live across the galaxy. The humans faced a combined force of the two most powerful species, the Marek and Xirvathi. The opening salvo was devastating. Alien fleets formed tight defensive grids bristling with weaponry. But Elena's forces were fluid, shifting formations like living water, slipping through gaps no one thought existed. Their drones penetrated defenses, disabling enemy communications. When the Marek flagship tried to regroup, a sudden strike from human frigates crippled its engines. The nebula's swirling gases became a deadly trap, lighting up with explosions as human tactics shredded the combined fleet. When the dust settled, not a single human ship was lost. The galaxy held its breath. In the council chamber, silence reigned. The smug laughter of days before was replaced by a profound, uneasy respect. The humans had done the impossible. Elena's final message to the council was clear and sharp. Underestimate us again and you will not survive the next time. Deep within the data vaults of the Xirvathi Concord, a young archivist named Vishra sat alone in the dim glow of holographic screens. Her 4 eyes flicked rapidly over streams of decrypted files from Earth, files she had uncovered during a clandestine probe into the humans' history. What she found was unlike anything she expected. At first, the records seemed mundane: economic reports, cultural archives, population censuses. But as she dug deeper, the darker layers emerged. Terrifying layers. There were detailed accounts of 2 world wars that had shattered the Earth in the early 21st century, wars fought with weapons that boiled oceans and melted cities. Entire continents had been reduced to ash and radiation. Vishra's 3 companions had dismissed such events as primitive conflicts of a backward species. But these archives told a different story. Vishra's claw hovered over a file marked Project Phoenix. With a hesitant breath, she opened it. The documents revealed Earth's secret arsenal, experimental weapons that bent physics, weapons capable of wiping out entire planetary ecosystems in moments. Even more unsettling was the proof that these weapons had been used multiple times. The records detailed humanity's desperate survival, countless close calls, civilizations destroyed, and yet the species endured. Vishra felt a shiver crawl down her spine. The humans had walked through hell and come out burning brighter. Suddenly, an encrypted transmission appeared. A distress signal from an unknown source inside the council. The archivist's screen blinked red. The message was short. Cease all investigations into humanity. Do not trust. Before she could react, the system locked down, cutting off her access. A cold voice echoed through her quarters. Unauthorized. Access detected. You are under investigation. Vishra sat back, her mind racing. The council feared what the humans had uncovered or what they might uncover next. But what did humanity want? What were they truly capable of? The council's halls buzzed with rumors. Several elder delegates held secret meetings, whispers of ancient treaties violated, of forbidden technologies, and of a species that should never have survived this long. At the same time, on Earth, Elena Reyes reviewed the leaks with grim satisfaction. The humans had allowed glimpses of their past to surface, knowing it would unsettle their enemies. The galaxy needed to understand one thing. Humanity was not a fragile relic, but a force tempered in fire and shadow. We survived because we adapted. Elena told her generals. Every disaster, every war, every near extinction, those forged us into something no alien power can ignore. She tapped a holographic map, showing Earth's known colonies and fleets scattered across contested systems. They think we are weak because we are few, but we are patient predators. We wait for the moment to strike. In the distant chambers of the Galactic Council, the mood shifted. Several species began to quietly prepare for a future where humanity would not just be observers, but contenders. Fear crept into their conversations, a new respect mixed with unease. Vishra, now confined to restricted quarters, knew she had uncovered something that could change the balance of power forever. The humans had secrets buried deep beneath their surface, secrets the council had tried to hide, and now, secrets that might soon be unleashed. As night fell over Earth's horizon, Elena stood on the bridge of the Resolute, looking out at the swirling stars. She whispered, "Let them learn the truth on their own terms." The galaxy had mocked the weak numbers, but beneath the dust of centuries lay a storm waiting to break. The attack came swift and merciless. New Thessalonica, Earth's farthest colony, had been a quiet outpost on the fringe of explored space, a speck of humanity's reach. It was a place the galaxy's pirates considered easy prey. When a notorious slaver fleet descended on the colony, expecting little resistance, they found themselves walking into a carefully laid trap. The pirates' ships tore through the colony's sparse defenses, their grotesque banners fluttering over the smoking ruins of outposts. The slaver commanders laughed, certain of a quick victory. They hadn't accounted for the shadows beneath the surface. At the heart of New Thessalonica's battered command center, Commander Elena Reyes monitored the unfolding chaos. "They want to fight," she said coldly. "We'll give them one, but on our terms." Without hesitation, the fleet's orbital defenses powered up, releasing swarms of sleek drones designed for stealth and precision. These weren't the lumbering war machines the galaxy had seen before. They were the Ghost Swarm, autonomous, silent, and deadly. The pirate leaders had no idea what was coming until their communication systems began to glitch. One by one, their flagship's sensors blinked out. Panic spread as small crafts went dark, their crews unable to react to attacks they couldn't see. The Ghost Swarm struck with surgical efficiency. They slipped through the cracks in the pirate fleet's defenses, disabling engines and weaponry, with silent bursts of electromagnetic pulses. Boarding crews found their vessels empty or their enemies already neutralized. In mere minutes, the sprawling pirate armada was crippled. Smoke and fire erupted as the few surviving ships scrambled to retreat, only to be cut off by Earth stealth frigates emerging from nebula clouds like phantoms. The final blow came from above. Orbital bombardments flattened the pirate command, vessels reducing them to burning wreckage. The once arrogant slavers were decimated with ruthless speed. Back on the Resolute, Elena watched the tactical displays. Her expression was unreadable, but inside, satisfaction burned bright. They won't forget this, her second-in-command said quietly. No, Elena agreed. And the galaxy will know. We don't just survive. We strike like lightning. The Ghost Swarm was humanity's silent weapon, a hive mind of drones connected through quantum networks, capable of independent decision-making, yet acting as one. They could infiltrate, disable, and destroy before an enemy ever knew what hit them. News of the massacre spread like wildfire. Across council chambers, discussions shifted from mockery to concern. The once dismissive Marek and Zirvathi emissaries grew pale. The humans' tactical brilliance and technological edge were undeniable. Yet even as the galaxy recoiled, Earth prepared for what came next. Elena's voice cut through the Resolute's command deck. This was just the beginning. They think we are disorganized, scattered, but every strike, every maneuver is part of a larger plan. In quiet rooms, scientists worked tirelessly, enhancing the swarm's AI. Soldiers trained relentlessly, ready for rapid deployment across light years. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a fortress and a spear. The slaver fleet's destruction sent ripples through the underworld of the galaxy. Pirate groups reconsidered their ambitions. Merchant guilds grew wary of alliances. Humanity was no longer a backwater curiosity. They were a force shaping the future. On New Thessalonica, survivors gathered, their fear replaced by fierce pride. Messages flooded Earth, pledging loyalty and support. Humanity's reach was growing, not through numbers but through unyielding will and unmatched precision. Elena allowed herself a brief moment of reflection. The galaxy had seen one glimpse of humanity's true nature: silent, swift, and devastating. But the shadows held even darker secrets, waiting to be unleashed when the time was right. She turned to her crew, voice resolute. Prepare for the next phase. We are no longer the hunted. We are the hunters. Outside, the stars burned cold and distant, but beneath their light a new storm was rising, one that would change the galaxy forever. The Galactic Council's chambers buzzed with nervous energy. Rumors swirled. Earth had developed something forbidden, something that defied the very laws that governed faster than light travel. Commander Elena Reyes stood before her fleet on the USS Resolute, the sleek lines of the flagship humming with latent power. Around her, captains and pilots awaited orders, eyes sharp with anticipation. They were about to rewrite the rules of warfare. Today, we break the chains that bind us, Elena said quietly, yet her words carried the weight of a thunderclap. The Tesseract Protocol will change everything. The Tesseract Protocol was a secret weapon born of decades of covert research, technology that folded space and time to teleport ships instantly across unimaginable distances. The Council had banned such devices long ago, fearing the chaos they could unleash, but humanity had survived long enough to understand. Sometimes survival demanded breaking the rules. The first test was ruthless and decisive. The Morek hegemony's flagship, the colossal Dread Maw, a floating fortress boasting hundreds of heavy turrets and impenetrable shields, was advancing toward an Earth colony on the outskirts of known space. It was accompanied by a fleet that dwarfed the entire human armada. The Council Watchers observed confidently. This would be humanity's final humiliation. Instead, the Resolute blinked out of known space, vanishing from all sensors. Seconds later, the flagship reappeared in the Morek's command orbit, inside the enemy's defensive perimeter. A blinding pulse shattered the calm of the Morek fleet. The Resolute unleashed a barrage of plasma torpedoes, targeting the Dreadmaw's power core. The enormous ship shuddered violently, its shields flickering and failing. Before the enemy could respond, human boarding parties, teleported directly onto the enemy decks, seized critical control nodes. The Morek commanders were stunned, paralyzed by the audacity and speed of the attack. Elena's voice crackled through the enemy channels. We are not the prey you once hunted. We are the storm that consumes all. Within minutes, the Dread Maw was crippled, drifting lifeless in orbit. The Morek fleet was thrown into chaos, disoriented by an enemy they could neither track nor predict. The Resolute vanished again, this time appearing back in safe Earth space. The galaxy reeled. The Council convened an emergency session, fury and fear clashing in every voice. Such technology defied their laws and threatened the delicate balance of power. But Elena's message was clear. We did not ask for permission. We asked only for survival. Other species scrambled to develop their own versions of the Tesseract Protocol, but none could match humanity's elegant engineering and ruthless deployment. Earth's enemies found themselves vulnerable to attacks from nowhere, cut off before they could react. Supply lines were severed, fleets stranded light years from home, and entire systems lost in moments. The Orcs' greatest strength, their massive fleet, was rendered useless without the ability to maneuver freely. Their empire began to fracture, internal rebellions rising as fear spread like wildfire. Amidst the chaos, Elena met with her council of generals. This technology is a weapon and a promise, she said. We wield it with precision, but never forget. It invites retaliation. We must be ready. Her second-in-command, a battle-hardened veteran named Lieutenant Commander Isha Varin, nodded grimly. We've already detected covert attempts to sabotage. Our Tesseract nodes. Elena's eyes narrowed. Then we strike first. We will never be caught off guard. As Earth's fleets expanded their reach through space-time, humanity's reputation shifted again, from underestimated backwater to unstoppable force. The Council's old order cracked. Whispers spread that the humans had crossed a line no one else dared approach. Yet beneath the celebration, a shadow stirred, ancient alien powers watching silently from the edges of known space. Powers who remembered what it meant to wield forbidden technology, and who did not intend to let humanity's ascent go unchallenged. The Galactic Council was fractured. What had once been an imposing symbol of order and cooperation now resembled a battlefield of whispering rivalries and veiled threats. The humans, once scorned as weak and insignificant, had become the catalyst for chaos that threatened the very fabric of interstellar politics. In a hidden chamber deep beneath the Council's towering spires, the elder delegates gathered under a veil of secrecy. The Morok, still licking wounds from recent defeats, argued fiercely for decisive action. The humans break every rule. Their Tesseract protocol undermines our security and authority. We must unite our fleets and crush them before they grow stronger, snarled the Morok leader, his serpentine eyes burning with rage. The Zirvathi delegate, eyes narrowing with cold calculation, responded, True, but reckless aggression risks open war. We must be strategic. Strike only when the humans are vulnerable. Others nodded in uneasy agreement. The fragile balance that had maintained peace for centuries now teetered on the edge of collapse. Meanwhile, on Earth, Commander Elena Reyes and her senior officers monitored the Council's unrest through intercepted communications. They knew the galaxy was preparing to push back, to reclaim control. Elena stood in the Resolute's war room, a holographic star map hovering before her. Red blips marked hostile fleets gathering in strategic choke points, fingers closing around Earth's territories. We're not just fighting enemies outside, Elena said quietly. We're fighting fear and old power structures desperate to maintain control. Her chief strategist, Captain Malik Jansen, tapped the map. They underestimate us. They think we're just a fleet. But we're something more. Elena's eyes sharpened. Exactly. We are ideas. We are resilience. And we will not be cornered. Across human-controlled space, colonies and outposts fortified themselves. Scientists raced to upgrade the Ghost Swarm drones and enhance Tesseract protocol. Defenses. Soldiers drilled relentlessly, preparing for the inevitable clash. Then, strange signals began to pulse from the uncharted void beyond the known galaxy. Ghostly echoes in subspace, hinting at something ancient awakening. In a remote observation post on the edge of human space, Lieutenant Karavos watched the data streams, unease creeping into her voice. Commander, these signals, they're not from any known species. Elena's face darkened. We've stirred something. The galaxy's old gods are waking. The Council's ancient adversaries, the mysterious and long-hidden Xylari, had been thought extinct. But now, subtle ripples in space-time revealed their return, their power hidden but growing. The Xylari were masters of psychic warfare and forbidden technologies. Unlike the aggressive Morek or the tactical Sirvathi, the Xylari operated in shadows, manipulating minds and twisting realities. Elena gathered her closest advisors. We face enemies on multiple fronts. The Morek and Sirvathi will come with fleets, but the Xylari, they fight a different war. Her voice was steady but carried the weight of the coming storm. We must prepare for all of it. We must adapt faster than anyone else can react. In the quiet moments before battle, the crew of the Resolute trained their minds and machines. They practiced countering psychic attacks, reinforcing neural shields, and refining their tesseract jumps. The galaxy held its breath. The war was no longer just about ships and weapons. It was about survival of the spirit and the will to endure. As Elena stared out into the dark infinity, she whispered to the stars, "Let them come. We will face whatever comes together." The gathering storm was upon them, and humanity's true test had only just begun. The cold void exploded into chaos. The combined fleets of the Morek and Sirvathi surged toward the outer colonies in a furious attempt to stem humanity's growing power. Thousands of ships darkened the starfields, a tidal wave of destruction, aimed at the heart of Earth's influence. Commander Elena Reyes stood firm on the bridge of the USS Resolute, her jaw set and eyes burning with determination. Around her, her crew moved with precise efficiency, an orchestra of humanity's finest ready to face the storm. "This is it," Elena said quietly, voice steady but fierce. "Hold the line. Protect the colonies. Show them what humanity means, the upper." Battle erupted like a supernova. Laser fire lanced through the nebula. Plasma torpedoes screamed across the void, and drone swarms wove intricate patterns of destruction. The ghost swarm darted unseen, disabling enemy systems with ruthless efficiency, while human pilots executed daring maneuvers through asteroid fields and gravity wells. But the enemy was relentless. The Morek flagship, though scarred from earlier defeats, unleashed a salvo of devastating ion blasts that disabled several frigates in moments. The Sirvathi deployed psychic disruptors, technology stolen and adapted from the Xylari, that scrambled human neural networks, sowing confusion and panic. In the chaos, Elena's comm crackled with urgent voices. "Commander, the outer colonies are taking heavy damage. We need reinforcements," reported Captain Jansen. "Hold position," Elena ordered. "Tesseract teams prepare for rapid deployment." Using the Tesseract protocol, human ships blinked in and out of the battle, delivering rapid strikes and evacuating wounded with terrifying speed. The enemy's eyes darted in every direction, unable to predict where the next attack would come. In the thick of the fight, Lieutenant Kara Voss piloted her fighter with fierce resolve. She twisted through debris and enemy fire, protecting a convoy of civilian transports. A Morek hunter ship locked onto her position, its plasma cannon charging. Kara gritted her teeth and activated her stealth module. Her ship shimmered and vanished just as the blast erupted, leaving her pursuers' weapons to tear apart empty space. She counterattacked, firing a missile that struck the hunter's engine core. The enemy craft spun out of control and exploded in a burst of flame. But even victories came at a cost. Kara's comm buzzed again. Her wingman was down, lost in the debris. The battle raged for hours, a brutal clash of will and technology. Every inch of space was contested with desperation. In the midst of the chaos, Elena's voice cut through the turmoil. "Prepare for boarding actions. We will not lose these colonies." Deploying teams through the Tesseract portals, human soldiers materialized inside enemy ships, sowing havoc with precision strikes. The enemy fleet faltered as internal systems failed and commanders were taken captive. Yet the cost weighed heavily. Casualty reports flashed across Elena's displays. Friends, comrades, lost to the merciless void. At one critical moment, the USS Resolute itself came under fire from a hidden Xylari warship cloaked in psychic shadows. Waves of psychic assault washed over the bridge, threatening to overwhelm the crew's minds. Elena fought through the mental storm, focusing on the reality of her mission. "Neural shields full power. Isolate affected crew," she ordered. The ship's engineers scrambled to reinforce the psychic defenses. Slowly, the storm abated. "This isn't over," Elena whispered. "They fight with shadows, but we fight with light." As dawn broke over the battered colonies, the enemy fleets retreated, bloodied and uncertain. Humanity had held the line, but the war was far from won. Elena stood on the bridge, exhausted, but unbroken. "They wanted to break us," she said, softly. "Instead, they forged a new humanity. The galaxy was watching. The message was clear. Humans were no longer prey. They were the hunters." The galaxy held its breath. After the fierce clash at the outer colonies, a tense silence settled across the stars. But beneath the quiet, something far darker was stirring. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the USS Resolute, the weight of countless battles pressing on her shoulders. The victories had been hard won, but the cost was high. Yet she knew the true test was still to come. Intel had uncovered disturbing news. The ancient Xylari were mobilizing, and this time, their assault would not be limited to shadows or psychic assaults. They planned to unleash a weapon of unimaginable power, one that could rend the very fabric of space-time and consume entire star systems. Elena gathered her commanders. "They want to burn us out of existence. We will show them what it means to awaken a species forged in fire." The plan was audacious. Using every ounce of their Tesseract protocol technology, Earth's fleets would coordinate a multi-pronged strike deep into Xylari-controlled space. But this time, they would do more than fight. Humanity would unleash their deadliest weapon yet. The Ghost Swarm was no longer just a drone army. It had evolved, now capable of reorganizing itself on a quantum level, forming sentient swarms that could dismantle entire fleets and devastate planets with precision strikes. As the Armada jumped through a network of Tesseract gates, Elena looked out at the swirling chaos of battle stations and warships ready to engage. "This is more than survival," she said softly. "It's a reckoning." The first strike hit like a supernova. Ghost Swarm drones infiltrated Xylari command ships, silently disabling psychic dampeners and communication arrays. Human boarding parties flooded vessels and installations, their ferocity unmatched. The Xylari retaliated with waves of psychic storms, ripping through metal and mind alike. But the neural shields, enhanced by human ingenuity, held strong. Then, the deadliest moment arrived. The Xylari unleashed their weapon, a dark rift tearing open space, swallowing ships whole in a void of nothingness. Entire fleets vanished in the blink of an eye. The galaxy gasped. Humanity was on the brink, but Elena's gamble paid off. The Tesseract protocol allowed the Resolute to leap inside the rift itself, a place no one had dared enter. With the Ghost Swarm leading the way, the humans struck at the heart of the weapon's source, a colossal living machine pulsing with dark energy. In the crucible of annihilation, Elena and her crew fought with everything they had. The Ghost Swarm disassembled the machine piece by piece, while human engineers rewrote the rift's quantum code, sealing it from within. As the rift closed, a shockwave rippled through space, toppling the Xylari fleets. Their power shattered. The ancient empire began to crumble. The galaxy was stunned. The humans had survived the impossible, and dealt a blow no one thought possible. Back on the Resolute, Elena allowed herself a rare smile. "We were ridiculed for our weak numbers," she said, voice steady. "But we unleashed unimaginable devastation. We didn't just survive, we reshaped the galaxy." The Council, fractured and humbled, extended a cautious hand toward Earth. Old rivals sought alliances, respect replacing contempt. And across the stars, humanity's colonies stood stronger than ever, a testament to resilience and relentless spirit. Elena looked to the distant sun rising over Earth's horizon. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "The future belongs to those who dare to fight beyond their limits." As the Resolute prepared to jump home, the stars glittered with new possibilities. Humanity had risen from the ashes, a storm unleashed, forever changing the course of the cosmos.